Welcome to Canine Revolution Radio. Presented by Canine Revolution Dog Training, enhancing the dog and owner relationship through education, balance, and pack instinct.
Hey y'all, welcome to Canine Revolution Radio. I'm Chris.
I'm Kevin.
And today we are going to talk about exercise, why it's important to exercise your dog. So just kind of jumping right in, exercise, it should be a daily part of our routine with our dogs. But a lot of people ask, why? Is it really that important? Why is it important? All right, so I mean, when it boils down, exercise is a basic instinctual need that needs to be fulfilled so that our dogs can live a long and happy life, right? When we take exercise out of the picture and we don't provide exercise, there can be some serious issues that you may deal with that can be related to not exercising, which we're going to get into here shortly. All right. First, the obvious benefits of exercise are the physical benefits. So when we provide our dogs with exercise, you don't see things like obesity or joint issues or hip issues, hip dysplasia. That can help. Exercising can help prevent a lot of those things. So being in overall good health is going to help in building our dog's confidence. All right. If we allow our dogs to live a sedentary lifestyle, so just sitting around, not exercising, laying on the couch all day, we can increase the chances of having issues both physically and behaviorally. We can see things such as anxiety, insecurity, or even aggression. Right, Kevin, what do you got?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things when we're talking about exercising our dogs. First of all, it's a very, very powerful position from your dog's perspective, right? So just kind of relate it with, we're going to relate it with food. So when we're training dogs, we're the ones that provide them with food. They rely on us to meet that instinctual need to survive, meet that drive to eat. So along with that, exercise is also an instinctual need. It's a baser instinctual need. The wolf can go 30 miles a day on the prowl for food, no problem, at a steady trot. So balancing their energy levels with our exercise should be done with us for a few reasons. One, big bond building, right? Structured exercise, I'm leading the walk. That's huge for the bond, okay? As we repeat this process, as we continue to exercise daily, the bond is strengthened, the trust and the respect with the dog is built, and we meet that instinctual need to balance their energy so that we're not dealing with undesirable behaviors or undesirable health issues or anything like that. So the bond is one of the biggest ones. You always want a good relationship with your own personal dog. We want them to rely on us for basic instinctual stuff. So food, exercise, extremely, extremely important. Yeah,
absolutely. The things they need, in order to survive come from us, and that's powerful. That's very powerful. So we'll kind of go a little bit deeper. We keep talking about, exercise being an instinctual need, Kevin touched on wolves, right? And so our dog's ancestor is the wolf. So we can learn a lot about our dogs by studying wolves, which we do. We read a lot of books on wolf behavior so that we can better understand dog behavior, right? And so when we talk about wolves exercise on a daily basis, in order to survive. Like literally it's life and death if they don't get this exercise. And of course their exercise is just daily living, going about their days. So some of the things you'll see with wolves, this will become important because we're going to try to exercise our dogs in these manners that a wolf would, right? So some of the things you'll see with wolves are they frequently patrol their territory, right? Kevin mentioned walking, they may be trotting 30 miles a day, right? Engaging in play behavior, engaging in ritualized behavior of, aggression, play, submission, all of that kind of stuff. That's physically exercising. And they do this with their pack mates, right? They stalk, they hunt, and they kill their prey. And then from time to time, they will migrate to new territories, which can be an exhausting feat. So physically, these are some of the things that wolves are doing just to survive, but obviously getting physical exercise, right?
Yep.
So obviously our dogs do not live in the wild, so they don't have to, we're not saying to let your dogs go out in the backyard and chase and hunt and kill all the squirrels back there. If that's your thing, hey, go for it. But obviously there's reasons why we wouldn't allow that. So it's not, we're being a little bit dramatic here, because our dogs don't live in the wild, right? But they still need some of these same things that the wolves are doing when it comes to exercise, right? So that's why it's important for us to provide them with these activities, and we're the ones, like you talked about, that are providing them with that. So exercise that simulates some of these activities can be very productive in fulfilling our dog's needs, right? So when hunting, wolves chase the prey, they catch it, they bite it, right? So while we're not doing those exact things, we may play fetch with our dog, right? Our dog is chasing a ball, they're biting the ball. We might be using a tug. They're chasing us, maybe biting the tug, thrashing. They're getting a lot of those things out instinctually. So we are simulating all of that instinctual behavior that wolves use to exercise, right?
Yep.
So that's kind of what we're talking about when we start talking about exercise being an instinctual need. These are things that animals need in order to survive, and we are just providing that to them. So we'll go ahead and talk about some of the problems that could arise when we don't have exercise.
So the same way with a wolf pack, everybody pretty much knows their place, right? So they're following the leader.
Yep.
They're following the leader on that 30-mile trek or on that hunt or whatever it may be. So in the same regard, we are our domestic dog's pack.
Yeah.
We need to be the leader. We need to, that helps them, manage their mindset. We avoid what is called understimulation. So if we're not exercising our dog, or we're not structurally exercising our dog, I should say, to where it's to where we're leading the walk, you could suffer from issues such as understimulation. So real quick, the definition of understimulation from Encyclopedia of Canine Behavior by Roger Abrantes. A dog is understimulated when it is given insufficient opportunity to use and develop its inborn abilities and satisfy its needs. Now, of course, in the wild, they're using their inborn abilities, they're satisfying their needs. One of it's just pretty much a hunting drive. Right. Basically, all of their exercise comes from wanting to survive. Domesticated dogs, of course, it's a little different. We give them the kibble or the raw diet. It comes from us. It's good to go. But if we don't mimic this, if we don't simulate this, and we do hit a point of understimulation, you're gonna have poor behavior, such as tearing up the house when you're not home. Oh, yeah. Or maybe not even respecting you, maybe being too energetic. Things like that. So we really do need to get that balance in order to satisfy them. Okay. Yeah. So almost every undesirable behavior that we will encounter, understimulation is usually the root cause, right? Yep. Sometimes insecurity, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, the most basic thing of just structured exercise goes a long way to working through and rehabilitating these mindsets, managing their mindset and kind of controlling what they're able to do. So when they do have excessive energy, when they are understimulated, it's got to come out somewhere. Yep. And it's going to come out somewhere you don't want it.
Your baseboards.
Yep. Your rugs.
Wood floor that
you just bought that $1,200 rug. Now it's tattered up. So chewing on furniture, anything like that. But at the same time, we could begin to create anxieties, right? So we're talking about pacing around the house, barking nonstop, things like that. That's basically just an excessive energy leaking out. It has to come out somewhere. So another one is, you come home, they've been running around all day, satisfying their own needs, reinforcing their own anxious mindset. They're not exercised regularly. Guess what? They're going to mess with you. Yep. They're going to start bugging you for attention because it's something to do. You just came home. Yep. Something just got added to the environment. Now they want to mess with you, right? So, you just work 10-hour shift, you come home, they're being pushy, they're mouthing you, just messing with you in general. And, our response usually is an inflated one, which just increases the anxiety even more. So balancing that energy is definitely the key, nice structured exercise. So it's all examples. What it boils down to is just energy, just understimulation. So achieving that goal, achieving that mindset of, calm, confident, relaxed, chipping away at that excessive energy, that's where you're going to find the most success in avoiding these undesirable behaviors.
And providing it that proper outlet for that energy. Absolutely. So Other thing we'll talk about here is anxiety and insecurity. So it kind of goes hand in hand with understimulation. A lot of times, when we're meeting dogs, assessing dogs' behavior, we can say, root cause is insecurity, it's anxiety, and then, like you said, in almost every case, understimulation is a part of that equation as well. So your dog may whine a lot or bark when they are frustrated. These behaviors may not seem anything more than just being annoying to some people. But when these behaviors get continually reinforced over a period of time, they can get worse and even develop into dangerous behaviors, right? So we have seen anxiety and insecurity develop in a wide array of unsafe behaviors. We've seen aggression towards owners, towards the dog's owners, towards other strangers, towards children, towards other dogs. People can't walk their dogs through their own neighborhood without having some type of reaction, right? And this is all rooted in this insecurity and anxiety, right? And understimulation. We've seen holes chewed in the walls, like we talked about, couches demolished, carpets ripped up, you name it. And then, so some of the other ones that we've seen cases where dogs will inflict harm upon themselves, right? So you may have seen, videos of dogs chasing their tails. That's an anxious behavior. We've seen it so extreme where dogs will bite their tails. They'll bite their backsides. Until they're bleeding and slinging blood all over the house and that kind of stuff. Like, this is all rooted in anxious behavior. It's unhealthy, and now it's gotten to the point where it's causing physical harm to a dog, right? So these are not healthy ways for our dogs to live. So when we assess dogs with these types of undesirable behaviors and talk about behavior modification, exercise is the first prescription, right? So there is a long process that goes into training, but day one, we start with exercise.
Right.
So we can start teaching the dog how to walk, teaching the dog how to exercise, maybe on a treadmill, whatever means we want to use. Exercise is our first step, right?
Yep.
Productive and healthy exercise is where we start in order to address the issues long term. So bottom line, by providing our dogs with exercise, we are fulfilling their instinctual needs and preventing unhealthy habits from forming,
Yep.
right? And so you want to talk about the two elements that we kind of want to keep in mind when we're exercising.
Absolutely. So you've heard us say, structured exercise. Well, is there unstructured exercise? There is. We'll get into it more in depth later on. But when I say structured exercise, I'm talking about working the body and working the mind at the same time in order to achieve that stimulation. There are some dogs that can go and go and go and go, but there's no mental stimulation. You're like, well, I'm still experiencing these bad behaviors. All right, well, when you take him out on a leash, how is it? He's pulling on the leash, constant tension on the leash, paying attention to everything else but me. What we're doing is reinforcing a negative mindset. We're reinforcing anxieties. You say, man, I walked my dog 3 miles, came home and he started chasing his tail and jumping all over me.
Yeah.
Well, we got to get the mind part in there. Yeah. So from our perspective as trainers, train dog, heel position, right? Simulate that pack walk, nice, calm, demeanor, follows us, they don't lead it, anything like that. So we have to balance these, we have to balance these mindsets in order to address the actual issues, right? Excuse me. In doing this, we create a healthier state of mind for our dogs.
Yeah.
If it's structured, if it's scheduled, they know when they're going to walk, they know when they're going to play because they're on a schedule. They are very schedule-like animals. Then they know when that energy can come out. Yeah. So we're likely to avoid the undesirable behaviors while we are away. In that case, we always call it separation anxiety. Tearing stuff up. Well, it all stems from something. And to start with, it's the exercise. Start to work through it, structure it, keep them next to you. Don't let them, go crazy, anything like that. On the other hand, we also condition dogs with treadmills, right? They can walk, run, trot, whatever. That is basically just physical stimulation, right? At that point, because they're kind of doing it on their own, but they are staying on the treadmill like we taught them. So maybe a little mental there, Sure. But we could couple that with some basic obedience, hiding stuff, allowing them to find it, simulating that hunt. Like they do in the wild. Just things like that are, just practice the obedience. Like we use our spot time, downstays, recalls, anything like that can really work and balance that mental mindset. So yeah. They're physically stimulated, obviously, when they're running, chasing things, playing fetch, tug, whatever it may be. But at the end, we need to incorporate some of that mental stimulation to get those behaviors and get that positive mindset that we want.
Yeah. absolutely. So I've got a hound dog, that you could put her on the treadmill for 2-3 hours if you wanted to, and she's ready to go. But I could take her to a distraction session, go to Lowe's for 15-20 minutes. She's done for the day. Just that mental stimulation.
A lot
is
going on,
very powerful. Yeah. So you definitely have to have a balance. Good stuff. All right, so next thing we're going to go into, Kevin touched on it, is structure versus unstructured. So we always recommend structured exercise over unstructured exercise. So unstructured exercise, as an example, would be just simply letting our dog outside in the backyard to run around while we stay inside the house. Or letting our dog loose in a dog park to run around with other dogs while we sit in the corner on the phone, right? So we get that a lot. Well, I got my dog another dog to exercise that dog so they can go out there and do their thing and exercise, right? So I'm providing them with that exercise, not necessarily, right? And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be able to just let our dogs out in the backyard, don't get me wrong. But if this is your only method of exercising or providing exercise for your dog, you may be inviting some issues, right? So you also need to keep in mind that these are scenarios where we are not in control, right? So there is no structure involved. Structure means we are in control of the environment. So our dogs are free to do as they wish, right? Sometimes that means digging holes, jumping the fence, pacing up and down the fence line, barking at other dogs as they pass by, or squirrels or cats or people, or you name it, right? The list goes on. So these types of activities will build anxiety and reinforce undesirable behaviors because we are not there to guide our dog's actions, right? Letting our dog into a dog park with other dogs that we don't know could put your dog in a bad situation, which could develop insecurity, which could lead to some type of fear, aggression, or worse, right? Can degrade our dog's trust in us, right? So this is all huge.
Especially as it's constantly, reinforced.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing this once a week, taking my dog to the dog park, and to us it looks like they're playing, but to a trainer it may be undesirable behaviors. Well, over time, those behaviors you're experiencing at home, they're going to escalate.
Yep.
If you create insecurity, you create that fear aggression, you may be headed down to the path to where a dog gets a successful bite.
Yep.
And we want to avoid that as much as possible.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. Then you got a real problem. So, in these situations, are our dogs getting exercise? Sure. But at what cost? And we have to ask, is this a healthy form of exercise in the best interest of our dogs, right? So structured exercise is going to be much healthier. We encourage exercising your dogs in methods where you are in control at all times. So I do let my dogs run around in the backyard. I let them do their own thing, as they want. All three of mine run around, sometimes go a little bit crazy, but I'm out there. I'm there with them, or I can at least see them. I can control the environment, right? They start doing undesirable behaviors like digging or barking at something they shouldn't be barking at. I am there to put a stop to that, to be the outlet for that excessive energy.
Pack walk time.
That's exactly right. Time for everybody to go on a walk. So if I let my dogs play with other dogs, I am there and I'm paying close attention. And I mean there like, physically and mentally, right? I'm not on my phone. I'm not just sitting in the corner talking to somebody. I'm watching, my dog playing with that other dog. If I see body language that I don't like, or the playing is, starting to get out of hand, I'm in control and I can put a stop to it. And most of the time, if the other dog is playing with my dog, I know that owner and I know they have control over their dog as well, which is a huge factor. So, when we walk our dogs, they should not be pulling us on the leash. You talked about that. We control our route, we control the pace that we walk, and we control our dog's behavior throughout the entire walk, right? So Kevin touched on the importance of that, and this is just another example. We are in control. So by being involved with our dog's exercise, we build experiences as well. So this is very, very huge because we're involved. By going through these experiences that we build, we strengthen our bond with our dog. They learn that we are effective leaders, someone they can look up to and trust. This helps to build their confidence and prevents things such as insecurity,
right,
anxiety, understimulation.
We want to
right?
reinforce the right things.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of to To recap, exercise is a crucial component to our dogs' lives. It fulfills our dogs' instinctual needs to run, chase, bite, walk, and think through various scenarios. If we do not provide our dogs with a healthy and productive means of exercise, they will become understimulated and their energy will go into undesirable behaviors. We have to balance our exercise between physical and mental stimulation, like Kevin talked about, so that we are properly balancing our dog's energy levels in a healthy way. We want to always be involved not only in our dog's exercise, but in their lives as a whole, right? So we should always be in control so that our dogs will always have to rely on us. Through exercise, we can strengthen our bond and our dogs and can enjoy a long, happy, and healthy life with them.
Absolutely.
So cool, that's good stuff, man. So that's all we've got to talk about. Exercise your dog. It's super, super important. It's not just something you do. Mm-hmm. This is something that our dogs need, instinctually. Yep. So that's all we've got. Appreciate you guys listening in. Make sure you guys tune in next time to Canine Revolution.